quick like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. You know what's supposed to be a symbol of lifelong commitment? A wedding ring. One ring, one marriage, one promise. It sits on your finger as a visible reminder that you belong to someone, that you've made vows, that you're not available. Unless you have two wedding rings. One for your actual marriage, and one for the marriage you're pretending to have with someone else. I found a second wedding ring in my wife's jewelry box last week. Gold band, size 7, same as the ring I gave her 8 years ago. But this one had a different inscription inside. Not our wedding date, not our initials. Someone else's promise engraved in the metal. My wife wasn't just having an affair. She was wearing a different wedding ring when she was with him. Playing wife to another man. Coming home, switching rings, and playing wife to me. 2 rings. 2 marriages. One woman living 2 completely separate lives. I only found the second ring by accident. She'd hidden it in a compartment I didn't know existed in her jewelry box. A secret space for her secret marriage. My name is Ryan. I'm 41 years old, and I work as an insurance investigator for a fraud division in Denver, Colorado. I spend my days uncovering deception, documenting false claims, and recognizing when people are living double lives. I understand patterns of fraud, how people construct elaborate lies, and what evidence reveals about hidden behavior. I never thought I need to investigate my own wife for living a fraudulent second life. I met Lauren 13 years ago at a mutual friend's ski trip to Breckenridge. She was working as an event planner, organized and detail-oriented in ways that matched my investigative precision. I was the fraud investigator. She was the planner who made everything run smoothly. We understood each other's need for order and structure. We got married 8 years ago in August. Beautiful mountain wedding at a resort near Aspen. I gave Lauren a white gold wedding band with our initials and wedding date engraved inside. R and L, August 15th, 2016 forever. She wore that ring every day for 8 years. Never took it off except to sleep or shower. It was always on her left hand, visible, marking her as married. We bought a house in the Highlands neighborhood of Denver, a renovated Victorian with mountain views and original woodwork. Lauren built her event planning business. I advanced to senior fraud investigator. Combined income around $225,000. We were successful, stable, living well in Denver. For the first 6 years of our marriage, everything seemed solid. Lauren planned corporate events and weddings. I investigated insurance fraud. We had our routines, our shared life, our circle of friends. Then about 2 years ago, Lauren's work schedule became more demanding. I took on a new corporate client, she explained one evening. Tech company doing quarterly events. Big budget, lots of planning required. I'll need to be on site more often. Where are they based? Boulder. So it's not far, but I'll probably need to spend full days there sometimes. Maybe occasional overnights if we're doing multi-day conferences. It seemed reasonable. Boulder was 45 minutes away. A major corporate client would require significant time and presence. Over the next 2 years, Lauren's Boulder client consumed more and more of her schedule. She'd drive to Boulder 2 or 3 days a week. Sometimes she'd stay overnight, claiming the event planning required her to be on site early the next morning. Another overnight in Boulder? I'd ask when she'd pack a small bag. Yeah, we're doing a 2-day executive retreat. Need to be there at 6 a.m. tomorrow to oversee setup. Easier to stay at a hotel nearby than drive from Denver at 4:30 in the morning. Made sense. Event planners often stayed near their venues during major events. I also noticed Lauren had become more private about her phone and computer. She'd angle her screen away when texting, take calls in other rooms, keep her laptop password protected and closed when not in use. Work stuff, she'd explain when I'd notice. Client confidentiality. Can't have event details visible in case someone sees the screen. Also reasonable for someone handling corporate events. But there were smaller things that didn't quite fit. Lauren had started wearing slightly different jewelry on her Boulder days. More professional, she said. More appropriate for corporate events than her usual casual style. She'd leave for Boulder wearing one necklace, come home wearing a different one. I keep some accessories in my car, she explained. Switch them out depending on the client's culture. Some companies are more formal than others. I accepted these explanations because they all sounded plausible. Lauren was a professional event planner. Of course, she'd adapt her appearance to different clients. Of course, she'd protect client confidentiality. Of course, major events required overnight stays. I'm an insurance fraud investigator. I'm trained to spot deception. But I trusted my wife completely. Never thought to apply my professional skepticism to my own marriage. Then last Thursday, everything changed because of a broken clasp. Lauren was getting ready for a bolder day. She came out of her bedroom holding her necklace. The clasp broke. Can you look at it? You're better with these tiny things than I am. I took the necklace to my desk where I keep tools and supplies. Examined the clasp under my magnifying lamp. It needed a new jump ring. Simple fix. I can repair this, but I need to get a jump ring from the jewelry store. Might take a day or two. That's fine. I have other necklaces I can wear. Actually, can you check my jewelry box? I think I have a similar style necklace that would work. Sure. Which box? The wooden one on my dresser. Should be in the top compartment. I went to our bedroom. Lauren's jewelry box sat on her dresser, a large wooden box with multiple compartments and drawers. I'd given it to her as an anniversary gift 3 years ago. I opened the top compartment, found several necklaces, selected one similar to the broken piece, and brought it to Lauren. Perfect. Thank you. She left for Boulder around 8 a.m. I went to my office for the day, but something kept nagging at me. A memory. When I'd opened Lauren's jewelry box, I'd seen something unusual in the top compartment. A small latch or button on the side panel, like there might be a hidden compartment. Hidden compartments in jewelry boxes aren't uncommon. I have one in my watch box for important documents. Probably nothing unusual, but I'm an investigator. Hidden compartments trigger my professional curiosity. That evening after work, I went back to Lauren's jewelry box. She was still in Boulder, one of her overnight stays. Wouldn't be home until tomorrow. I opened the top compartment again, examined the small latch on the side panel, pressed it. A false bottom popped up, revealing a hidden compartment beneath the main level. Inside the hidden compartment were several items. A small envelope with cash, maybe $800 in 20s, a spare phone charger, a set of keys I didn't recognize, and a wedding ring. Gold band, women's size 7, same size as the ring I'd given Lauren. But this wasn't the ring from our wedding. Different style, different metal tone. This was yellow gold. Lauren's actual wedding ring was white gold. I picked up the second ring, examined it closely. There was an inscription inside the band. I held it under the light to read the engraving. D and L, April 22nd, 2018, always. D and L, April 22nd, 2018. Always. Not our initials. Not our wedding date. Someone else's promise engraved in a wedding ring hidden in my wife's jewelry box. I sat on our bed, holding this second wedding ring, my investigator brain immediately analyzing what this meant. Lauren had a second wedding ring, with initials that included D and a date from April 2018, 2 years after our actual wedding. This wasn't a ring from before our marriage. The date was 2018. We'd been married since 2016, meaning Lauren had gotten this ring or received this ring while married to me. A wedding-style band with an engraved date and the word always. I photographed the ring from every angle, photographed the inscription, measured the diameter and estimated the size, documented everything in the hidden compartment. Then I put everything back exactly as I found it, closed the false bottom, made sure the jewelry box looked untouched. I went to my office and started investigating my own wife. First, I searched for the date, April 22nd, 2018. I checked Lauren's calendar from that time period. April 22nd, 2018 was a Sunday. Lauren's calendar showed Boulder corporate events set up for that entire weekend. I checked our joint credit card statements from April 2018. No unusual charges on the 22nd. Lauren had used her card for gas in Boulder on the 21st. Nothing else that weekend. I checked her social media. No posts from April 22nd, 2018. Actually, no posts that entire week. Unusual. Lauren typically posted regularly about events she was planning. I searched for D and L in connection with Lauren. Nothing obvious. The D could be anyone. Then I thought about Lauren's Boulder client, the tech company she'd supposedly been working with for 2 years. I never asked the company name. It was her client, her business. I searched Lauren's email. We had shared access to each other's accounts for household management purposes. Looked for anything related to Boulder clients. Found dozens of emails about Boulder events. But they weren't from a corporate tech company. They were from a residential address. An email signature that read, Daniel Morrison, Senior Director, Mountain West Technology Solutions. Daniel Morrison. I searched Daniel Morrison online. Found him on LinkedIn immediately. Daniel Morrison, 43, Senior Director at Mountain West Technology Solutions in Boulder. His profile photo showed a handsome man with dark hair, professional corporate headshot. His LinkedIn said he'd been with Mountain West Tech since 2015. Before that, various technology companies in Colorado. I checked his Facebook profile. It was mostly private, but his profile photo showed him in casual outdoor clothing, hiking in the mountains. His relationship status wasn't listed. I searched property records for Daniel Morrison in Boulder. Found a house registered to his name. A contemporary home in the hills outside Boulder. Purchased in 2017. 1 year before the date, engraved in the ring I'd found in Lauren's jewelry box. I searched marriage records for Daniel Morrison and Lauren. Nothing official. They weren't legally married. Lauren was legally married to me. But that ring, that engraved date, D&L, April 22nd, 2018, always. They'd had some kind of ceremony or commitment on April 22nd, 2018. Exchanged rings. Made promises. Even though Lauren was already married to me. I spent the next 3 days investigating while Lauren was in Boulder for her multi-day corporate event. I hired a private investigator named Marcus Webb. Gave him Daniel Morrison's information and Lauren's Boulder schedule. I need to know if my wife is having an affair with Daniel Morrison. I need to know if she's presenting herself as his wife when she's in Boulder. I need photographic evidence. Marcus called me 2 days later. I have what you need, but you're not going to like it. He sent me a secure file. I opened it. Photos of Lauren and Daniel Morrison at a grocery store in Boulder. Shopping together, cart full of food, Daniel's arm around her waist. Lauren wearing casual clothes and the second wedding ring on her left hand. Photos of them at his house. Arriving together in Daniel's car. Going inside together. Photos of them at a restaurant in Boulder. Sitting close, holding hands across the table. Lauren wearing the second wedding ring clearly visible in the shot. Photos of Lauren leaving Daniel's house in the morning. Wearing different clothes than she'd arrived in. Kissing Daniel goodbye on the front porch. The ring on her finger. She's living with him when she's in Boulder, Marcus said. Neighbors think they're married. I talked to a few people on his street. They refer to her as Daniel's wife, Lauren. She's been staying at his house 2 or 3 days a week for the past 2 years. Did anyone mention a wedding or ceremony? One neighbor mentioned they had a party in April 2018. Said it looked like a small wedding or commitment ceremony in their backyard. Maybe 20 people. Neighbor assumed it was a private wedding. April 2018. The date on the ring. My wife had participated in some kind of wedding ceremony with Daniel Morrison in April 2018. Exchanged rings with him. Started wearing a second wedding ring when she was in Boulder. Presenting herself as his wife to his neighbors and community. She wasn't just having an affair. She was living a second marriage. I documented everything. Downloaded all of Marcus's photos. Compiled the timeline. Verified that every Boulder corporate event over the past 2 years had actually been days Lauren spent living with Daniel at his house. Then I called a divorce attorney. Her name was Patricia Reeves, specialized in complex marital fraud. My wife has been living a second marriage for the past 2 years. She has a wedding ring from a ceremony with another man. She stays at his house in Boulder several days a week, presenting herself as his wife to neighbors. She's been systematically deceiving both me and apparently him about her marital status. Does the other man know she's married to you? I don't know. That's what I need to find out. I called Daniel Morrison's office number. Mountain West Technology Solutions. How may I direct your call? Daniel Morrison, please. One moment. Daniel answered. This is Dan. Mr. Morrison, this is Ryan Fletcher. I'm Lauren Fletcher's husband. I'm calling to inform you that Lauren is legally married to me and has been for 8 years. Dead silence on the line. I recently discovered a second wedding ring in my wife's jewelry box. Gold band engraved with your initials and the date April 22nd, 2018. I've confirmed through investigation that Lauren has been living with you at your Boulder home several days per week while telling me she was working on corporate events. This is a joke, right? I have photos of Lauren at your house. Photos of her wearing the second wedding ring. Photos of her grocery shopping with you, having dinner with you, kissing you goodbye at your front door. Your neighbors referred to her as your wife. This is not a joke. Lauren told me she was divorced. She said her marriage ended badly several years ago. We had a commitment ceremony in 2018 because she didn't want to legally marry again after a bad experience, but she wanted to commit to our relationship. Lauren is not divorced. She's still legally married to me. We live together in Denver. We've been married continuously since August 2016. The marriage she told you ended badly is actually our current marriage that's still ongoing. Oh my God. Are you sure? I'm certain. I can send you copies of our marriage license if you need verification. But I suspect if you search public records, you'll find Ryan Fletcher and Lauren Hayes Fletcher married in 2016 with no divorce filing. I don't understand. She spends 3 days a week here. Where does she say she is when she's with you? She tells me she's in Boulder working on corporate events for a tech company client. She tells you that she's in Denver working on events. She's an event planner. She has clients in both cities. I thought the Denver days were her work schedule. We'd both been deceived. Lauren had constructed 2 separate lives. Told me she was working in Boulder. Told Daniel she was working in Denver. Actually alternating between 2 marriages. Mr. Morrison, I'm filing for divorce. Lauren will be served this week. I thought you deserved to know the truth about the woman you've been living with. Thank you for calling. I need to process this. I hung up. That evening, Lauren came home from her Boulder event. She walked in around 6 p.m., carrying her overnight bag, smiling. Hey, how was your week? She asked. Interesting. How was Boulder? Good. Event went well. Client was happy. She set down her bag, started unpacking in our bedroom. I watched her carefully. She was wearing her regular wedding ring, the white gold band I'd given her in 2016, the ring from our actual marriage. The second ring, the yellow gold band from her ceremony with Daniel, was presumably back in the hidden compartment of her jewelry box. Can I show you something? I asked. Sure. I walked to her jewelry box, opened the top compartment, pressed the latch. The false bottom popped open, revealing the hidden compartment. Lauren's face went white. I reached in and pulled out the second wedding ring. Held it up. Want to explain this? Ryan, I can. This is a wedding ring. Yellow gold. Size 7, same as your ring size. But it's not the ring I gave you. I showed her the inscription. D and L, April 22nd, 2018. Always. I can explain. I know who D is. Daniel Morrison, your Boulder client who's actually your second husband. The man you've been living with 3 days a week for the past 2 years while telling me you were working on corporate events. How did you? I'm an insurance fraud investigator. I investigate people who live double lives for a living. Did you really think I wouldn't figure out once I found this ring? I pulled out my phone, showed her Marcus's photos. Lauren and Daniel grocery shopping. At his house. At restaurants. Kissing goodbye. You've been living 2 separate marriages. Telling me you're in Boulder working. Telling Daniel you're in Denver working. Wearing this ring when you're with him. Wearing my ring when you're with me. Switching back and forth for 2 years. She sank onto the bed, crying. I called Daniel today. Told him you're married to me. Told him there was no divorce. No ended previous marriage. Just a current ongoing marriage that you've been hiding from him. You told Daniel he deserved to know the woman he's been living with for 2 years is married to someone else. That the commitment ceremony you had in April 2018 wasn't a real marriage because you were already married. What did he say? He was shocked. Had no idea you were still married. Thought your previous marriage had ended years ago. You told him the same lies you've been telling me, just in reverse. What happens now? I pulled out divorce papers Patricia had prepared. I'm filing for divorce. You'll be served tomorrow. The filing documents your double life, the second wedding ring, the fake ceremony with Daniel, and the 2 years of systematic deception. Where am I supposed to go? You have 2 houses to choose from. You can stay here in Denver at the house that's legally yours as my wife. Or you can go to Boulder and stay at Daniel's house where you've been pretending to be his wife. Your choice. Daniel won't want me now. Probably not. Most people don't appreciate being deceived about their partner's marital status for 2 years. But that's not my problem. You created this situation. I love both of you. You don't love either of us. You love having 2 separate lives, 2 different houses, 2 different men to switch between. But you don't get to keep both. You have to choose which marriage was real and which was fake. They were both real to me. One of them is legally real. The other is fraud. And now both are over. She tried to argue, to explain, to justify. But I was done listening. I told her to pack what she needed. She could stay somewhere else tonight. We'd coordinate through attorneys for her to get the rest of her belongings. She left around 9 p.m., still crying. I sat in our house, my house now, holding the second wedding ring she'd left behind. 2 rings, 2 marriages. One woman who'd thought she could maintain both indefinitely. The divorce moved forward quickly. Lauren tried to claim the second ring was just jewelry with no significance. Patricia presented the evidence. Mrs. Fletcher participated in a commitment ceremony with Daniel Morrison in April 2018, exchanging rings and vows while legally married to my client. She maintained 2 separate residences, alternating between her legal husband in Denver and Mr. Morrison in Boulder. Neighbors in Boulder believed she was Mr. Morrison's wife. She wore different wedding rings depending on which marriage she was performing. This represents systematic, calculated fraud. We also presented testimony from Daniel Morrison, who confirmed the commitment ceremony, the ring exchange, and his belief that Lauren was divorced when they began their relationship. I had no idea she was still married, Daniel testified. She told me her previous marriage had ended badly and she didn't want to legally remarry. I accepted a commitment ceremony as an alternative. If I'd known she was currently married to someone else, I never would have participated. Lauren had no defense. The evidence was overwhelming. The ring alone proved she'd been maintaining a secret second relationship with ceremony, vows, and symbolic marriage. We settled after 10 weeks. I kept the Denver house. I'd paid the entire down payment from premarital savings. Lauren had to reimburse me for expenses she'd claimed as business travel to Boulder that were actually personal trips to her second marriage, approximately $31,000 over 2 years. She got 20% of remaining joint accounts. No spousal support. 8 years of marriage ended because I found a second wedding ring hidden in my wife's jewelry box. I heard what happened after. Daniel Morrison wanted nothing to do with Lauren after learning she'd been married the entire time they were together. The commitment ceremony he'd thought was meaningful turned out to be fraud. Lauren moved to a different city, couldn't stay in Denver or Boulder where both her former lives had imploded. About 2 years after my divorce, I met someone at a fraud investigation conference. Her name was Sarah, corporate investigator, understood the importance of honesty and transparency. On our 5th date, she asked about my divorce. I found a second wedding ring in my wife's jewelry box, hidden in a secret compartment. It had someone else's initials and a date from 2018, 2 years after we got married. Turned out she'd been living 2 separate marriages for 2 years. Sarah's eyes widened. 2 marriages? She'd split her time between me in Denver and a man named Daniel in Boulder. Told me she was working on corporate events in Boulder. Told him she was working on events in Denver. Wore my wedding ring with me. Wore his ring with him. Switched between 2 lives for 2 years. How did you find out? The second ring. Once I found it and saw the inscription, I investigated. Hired a private investigator who documented her living with Daniel in Boulder. Neighbors thought they were married. They'd had a commitment ceremony in 2018, the date engraved in the ring. What did you do? Called Daniel. Told him my wife was actually still married to me. Neither of us knew about the other. She'd been deceiving both of us, maintaining 2 separate marriages, switching rings and lives depending on which husband she was with that day. We've been together 16 months. Sarah doesn't have secret compartments in her jewelry box. Just one ring when the time comes. One marriage. One truth. I found a second wedding ring in my wife's jewelry box. It wasn't from our marriage. It was from the marriage she was having with someone else. While still married to me. 2 rings. 2 ceremonies. 2 sets of vows. 2 men who thought they were her only husband. D and L, April 22nd, 2018, always. A promise engraved in gold, made while she was still wearing my ring. R and L, August 15th, 2016, forever. 2 forevers. 2 always. Both lies, hidden in a secret compartment, in a jewelry box I gave her. For our anniversary, never knowing she'd use it, to hide evidence of her second marriage, the marriage she wore, when she wasn't being my wife. 2 rings. 1 woman. 0 honesty. Until I found the ring she'd hidden, and both marriages ended.